Hi everyone, you know who it is. I want to start this off by saying Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you find people celebrate and all that jazz. I also want to say that yes, I know my mic quality is not that good. I'm actually trying to save up for a new microphone as we speak, and I don't think I'll get one for Christmas, so it may have to wait a little bit, but just bear with me. I also want to mention that this video will contain spoilers for Hawkeye, so if you haven't seen it, what the hell are you doing watching this random ass YouTube video? Originally, I wasn't going to do this. I thought about it every week a new episode was released. It was rummaging through my mind like a dog sniffing through trash. I knew that if I did an essay on Hawkeye, I wouldn't please everyone. I'd get castrated for expressing my opinion like everyone does on any sort of platform. The small percentage of people that did watch my videos, or watch this one at least, would think that I'm probably some sort of great value Walmart brand knockoff of HiTop films. More on Alex later. But I got a feeling that I couldn't shake. I can do whatever I damn well please on my channel, and I don't care if my opinions upset anyone. So with that being said, here are my thoughts on this Marvel Studios labeled Christmas present. First, I gotta be totally honest and say that Marvel hasn't been doing it for me lately. The year started off with so much potential in WandaVision, a show that I found to be rather joyless with a forgettable villain, a god-awful finale, and dare I say it, a snooze fest pretty much all the way through. The characters were given proper writing, I guess, if you want to call it that, but I just found it wasn't my cup of tea. Falcon and the Winter Soldier surprised me with its heavy and heartfelt messages and tones, perfectly written characters new and old, with majorly underwritten villains, with the Flag Smashers, that I give a pass due to all the changes behind the scenes due to COVID. Loki was bland, it was uninteresting, and at times dreadful, but you bet your ass I'll be there to watch the multiverse shit itself in season 2. What If was a fun time, but not something I'll cherish forever like a lot of other Marvel shows and movies. Not to mention how boring and uninteresting Eternals was, and the fact that the Black Widow movie could have been so much more than it already was. Shang-Chi was pretty good though. At least Marvel did one thing good this year. And before anyone mentions it, I have yet to see Spider-Man with all the Omicron Decepticon COVID shit going on. Since the beginning of the year, I've been looking forward to one show that could hopefully rival that of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was desperately in search mode like the damn Terminator when I saw the trailer drop for Hawkeye. It was alright after I got back from vacation from Florida, and when I watched it, it basically tossed all the serious heavy shit out the window and instead said,
"Screwed, it's Christmas."
The trailer looked bright, it looked cheerful, it looked fun, unlike most of the shows that came out this year. It was something fresh I don't recall seeing for a while, so for me, November couldn't come soon enough. When Thanksgiving hit, I watched the first 2 episodes with my mom, and we watched every one after that to come to one single conclusion. If I had to put words around this season of Hawkeye, or this series of Hawkeye, since it's not going to get another season probably, I would say heartwarming. It brings a heartwarming feeling. After the first 2 episodes, I realized that it didn't necessarily blow me away. There was nothing jaw-dropping, nothing too surprising or alluring, but it did leave me happy and optimistic about its future. As weeks went on and episodes were cranked out, I was more than pleased with the pace. It never felt too boring, it never felt like it was dragging on. It was already a major plus over Loki and WandaVision. It never went too fast, it was perfect in my eyes. It tells a story that needs to be told and puts you smack dab right in the middle of Kate and Clint's story. It gives you the Christmas holiday vibe without having to shove it in your face all the time, and most importantly, the stakes feel personal. There's no secret plot to destroy the world, there's no purple alien with a bunch of colorful stones adding to his rock collection, there's no army of robots, no multiverse shenanigans, it's all grounded. Hawkeye dealing with his troubled past as the Ronin, Maya figuring out who the Ronin is, Kate delving deeper into her mom's shady side and Jack's cheeky nature. There's no major superpowers, no Spider-Man, no billion-dollar iron suits, it's just a couple people with sticks and strings shooting arrows. Where WandaVision and Falcon and Loki took multiple episodes to really get going, you understand everything you need to understand in one single episode with Hawkeye, and that's the first episode. Kate's very unsure about Jack, she's snooping through her mom's life as well, and Clint just wants to be there with his family for Christmas. This of course is fleshed out in more episodes to come, but you get the basic premise for a 6-episode show all in the first episode. I swear it's like watching a better acted, a better written, a more bold and less cheesy Hallmark Christmas movie with a Marvel logo pasted over it. It blends the drama, the storytelling, the characters, and the action about as well as any MCU project from years prior. It's the most believable MCU show for me so far, the most relatable. It shows the most class, it shows heart of the likes that remind me of some of the old Marvel projects before the time of the MCU. There's a mystery, but it's not a mystery that evolves into millions of different clashing parts. The fact that the show is entertaining is a massive massive understatement for how good this show actually is. The creative team behind this show deserves some applause for showing sides of a filmmaker I haven't seen in an MCU movie or show in a long time. My hat's off to you. Talking about any sort of movie or TV show, people are always going to wonder about characters. A wise man once said,
"The story is always in service of the character."
And he was correct. The story absolutely positively should be in service of the character. If you have well-casted, well-written characters that make you care about them, chances are you're going to have a good movie or show on your hands. Bringing back Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton's Hawkeye was a given, and he's just as good as he's ever been before. Casting Haley Steinfeld was a golden move, dazzling the screen and everyone watching with her bubbly personality and charisma that made everyone fall in love and appreciate the character of Kate Bishop. Vera Farmiga displays the secretive, discreet nature of Eleanor, leaving me thinking she was good in one episode, and then the next episode completely fucking my mind and thinking she was the big mastermind behind it all. Tony Dalton's stylish, dapper, dashing portrayal of Jack Duquesne made me hate to love just how passionate and into his character he really was. Never did I feel like he skipped a beat. I always thought he was brought into the MCU and made a promise to Kevin Feige to never feel flat and always set the tone whenever he was on screen. Tony Dalton's Jack was a big part of this show's heartwarming feeling to me. Steinfeld's Kate Bishop and Renner's Clint Barton mesh well together and really set the tone in the first few episodes of a girl trying to delve deeper into the mystery at hand. Man, who is clearly still grieving the loss of his best friend Natasha, also getting used to the world after Endgame, and a man who just wants to spend Christmas with his wife and kids, but gets wrapped up like a bundle of Christmas lights in Kate's problem. He doesn't want to be there, but he has to in order to help her get out of a problem she can't on her own, all while showing what it really takes to be a hero, which Kate gets the lesson of ever since she first saw Hawkeye and his heroic antics in the first Avengers movie.
You know, you don't have to do this. It is part of the job. It's always inconvenient. It's lonely. You will get hurt.
Heroes have to make some tough decisions.
So if you're gonna do this, I just want to know you're ready.
When I was younger, aliens invaded. I was alone. And I was terrified. But then I saw you. Fighting aliens with a stick and a string. I saw you jump from that building even though you can't fly. Even though you don't have superpowers. And I thought, if they could do that, I didn't have to be scared. You showed me that being a hero isn't just for people who can fly or shoot lasers out of their hands. It's for anyone who is brave enough to do what's right no matter the cost. I'm ready.
This show is perfectly showing, no pun intended, that you can be a hero no matter where you're from, no matter the color of your skin, your religion, your sexual orientation. You don't need special powers, special hammers, special web shooters, special suits. You don't need everything. The lesson about true heroism is something that I haven't seen since Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Hawkeye going from not wanting to be there but having to eventually having to be there and wanting to, so he himself can help Kate out, is the perfect characterization of Hawkeye. It never felt rushed, it never felt anything but earned, and that's some of the highest praise I can give this series. It's a crisp, raw, exciting rendition of a character we've seen since 2011, while also paying homage to the character and the comic that this show is based on by Matt Faction and David Aja. I haven't gotten to the always incredible Florence Pugh reprising her role as Yelena Belova, the single best part about Black Widow's solo movie, who shows up to cause some more extra trouble for Clint Barton, as we saw at the end of Black Widow. Florence may be one of my favorite actors working today, and definitely my favorite actor in the MCU since the first appearance of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. There's so much to love about the characters and where they go. Now, with that being said, many might wonder if I blindly just love this show with nothing to hate, and I'll say that that's not true. Some of the humor didn't land for me, and at times felt flat, and while the pacing was great, I think this show could have benefited from a few more episodes. But there was one more thing that really rubbed me the wrong way, besides a few dead jokes. That thing that rubbed me wrong was Kingpin, unfortunately. If you know me, you know that I'm a straight sucker for superhero fun. I love a lot of comic book movies, whether they're fun and exciting, dark and thought-provoking, or somewhere in between. And most people that know me in real life have had the extreme displeasure of having me to go on and babble about how much I love Marvel Netflix. I love both seasons of The Punisher. I love Jessica Jones Season 1. I love Luke Cage Season 1. I somewhat enjoyed The Defenders. I don't talk about Iron Fist, and I absolutely fucking adore Daredevil. All 3 seasons of Daredevil. Charlie Cox, Deborah Ann Woll, and Elvin Hansen grew on me more than the hairs on my face. I fell in love with the story, the characters, and by God, the villain. Vincent D'Onofrio's rendition of the Kingpin was the best villain I'd seen in a Marvel movie since Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus. The best live-action comic book villain since Heath Ledger's Joker, in my opinion. The extreme gravitas, presence, and fear that Kingpin struck within our souls was more than any other villain in the MCU. Vincent just got better and better with every season of Daredevil, but then, tragically, in 2018, Daredevil came to a close and was cancelled, and my heart, my soul, my very being was shattered. Shattered into 1,000 pieces like the poor man's head crushed in a car door. I was sad. I didn't know what to think until the unthinkable happened back in the summer. It was the summer of 2021. Loki had just started a few weeks back, Black Widow had come out, WandaVision and Falcon had wrapped already, and little old Adam was having the worst fucking time of his life up until that moment. Everything seemed bleak and dead, and nothing looked up besides a few people who were there for me in a news article that I read when I woke up one morning. A news article that read that a rumor was started that Hawkeye could potentially bring back Vincent D'Onofrio as our boy Willie Wilson Fisk. It wasn't confirmed, it wasn't going to happen necessarily, but my fanboy mind freaked and geeked out just a little bit, as I hoped, and I prayed that we got to see him back again. When the show finally came out, I was excited to see where it went. We got 6 episodes, but as I watched the episodes every week until I got to episode 5, I got less enthusiastic about Kingpin's return. I didn't think we'd actually see him. All we got for the first 5 weeks were little characters mentioning that their boss was around, or Hawkeye referring to someone named the Big Guy. That little amount of intrigue wasn't enough to satisfy my Daredevil-loving heart. That is until the final minutes of episode 5, when we saw him. We finally saw him wearing his comic-accurate suit, with his comic-accurate cane, and I could finally die a happy man. I watched the credits looking to see if it was truly our Kingpin, as You're a Mean One Mr. Grinch played in the background. I saw Vincent's name, and I screamed. I hollered, and I shouted yes as many times as I could at nearly 3 in the morning. And all I could do after that was wait to see him back in action. The final episode finally arrived, and I put Disney Plus back on and sat back to watch the excitement unfold. The opening shot of Fisk's heavy footsteps, eventually showing the size and scale of the Big Guy, left nothing but a huge smile on my face. He even had the same voice, but as the episode went on, I noticed something was missing. It wasn't something with the show overall, it wasn't a missing plot point or anything, it was Kingpin himself. I noticed that the MCU did the unthinkable and made the scary, bombastic, intimidating Kingpin into a joke. They took the most menacing character I've seen on television in a long time and turned him into someone who I didn't take seriously at all. He wasn't menacing. He didn't provide the show with a sense of urgency. He didn't pose that much of a threat, and to make matters worse,
sometimes family doesn't see eye to eye.
I'm sure he'll be back, granted, and I'm sure they didn't just bring him in for one episode only to kill him off. The one thing I'm not sure about is if it was better to kill him and leave him dead, or bring him back in the future and continue to miswrite his character and who he really is. I desperately hope they change Kingpin in the MCU so that if there is a small chance that Daredevil and Fisk reunite to fight, it doesn't feel pointless. I want that to feel exciting and fresh and bring me back to the good old days of Marvel. Alright, whatever. You get my point, the rant's over, let's just finish this video up. Anyway guys, that was my review of Hawkeye and why I think it's not only the perfect 6-hour Christmas movie, but why it was a heartwarming, nice breath of fresh air. If you haven't seen it yet, what the hell are you watching a spoiler video for anyway? But if you don't care about spoilers, go witness the show for yourself, I beg you. Besides the bad jokes and Willie being the biggest joke of the entire series, it really does have a lot of heart and fun enjoyment to love. I actually want to experiment around with video essays like this in the future. I have ideas for essays on games like The Last of Us 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2, and essays on other movies like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, Mark Webb Spider-Man movies, and maybe some others in the future. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Go a little easy on me if I didn't do a great job with my essay. This is my first one after all. And again, don't forget that this is all my opinion. I know some people probably disagree with me heavily on this, but this is just how I feel. Now on to a special message. This one I didn't write. The entire video that you just listened to, this essay, was all written as a script that I put on Google Docs right after I watched the last episode. But this last part for Alex from HiTop Films is not in the script. As a matter of fact, this is what it says on my script for Alex. Yeah, now you know how real this is. To Alex, I want to say this. I should probably be thanking Sam Raimi, because Sam Raimi inspired Alex to be a filmmaker, to be this guy that he is on YouTube. And I have to tell you, Alex, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for inspiring me to put my opinion on the internet with these essays. The whole reason I wanted to do this essay was because after I watched Hawkeye, I started binge watching your videos. I really did. I watched your videos on the Sam Raimi trilogy, on Mark Webb's trilogy, how Spider-Man Far From Home broke you, and looking back on it, it probably broke me too a little bit. And I just want to say thank you, because without Alex from HiTop Films, I wouldn't be doing this essay, and I probably wouldn't be thinking about doing essays in the future. But since Alex is a great person to learn from and really look at when you want to write an essay for something that you're passionate about, I wanted to say thank you. So Alex, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, I know we disagree a lot on the MCU. I like a lot of the stuff in the MCU, and you probably don't even like the Hawkeye show. I mean, maybe you do, maybe you'll make a video on it, but I sincerely doubt Alex probably likes the Hawkeye show. But even though we disagree on a lot, I just want to say thank you for always inspiring me to create. So in turn, I should be thanking Sam Raimi, but since you're probably a little bit more easy to reach, I want to say thank you, Alex, for being an inspiration. Alright, that's it, guys. If you guys enjoy, leave a like and subscribe. I'll be back with more videos in the future. Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate.